Welcome to the Netivot Shalom Shir. We're going to be studying the Netivot Shalom on the topic of Shabbos, and we're in this volume of the Netivot Shalom. It's volume Beit of the series that he has, and we're going to start on Tzadi Gimel, which is 93. And the topic is very appropriate for today because today we just finished in Israel, not in America yet, but in Israel, Asara B'Tevet, the 10th day of Tevet. And the 10th day of Tevet was the day that the Babylonians surrounded the city of Yerushalayim and laid siege to Yerushalayim, ultimately ending up in the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. So this is going to talk about the holiness of Shabbos, Kedushas Shabbos Hamikdash, and the holiness of the Beis Hamikdash. We read, Ohavi Hashem HaMachakim, B'Vinyan Ariel. Those beloved to Hashem are waiting for the rebuilding of Ariel, which is another name for the Beis Hamikdash. B'Yom Shabbos Kodesh, on the holy Shabbos day, Sisu v'Simcha, they'll be joyous and happy, B'Makabli Matan Nachliel, just like when they're receiving this reward of Nachliel, which again refers to the Beis Hamikdash. It says, Gimel Inyanim Elu, Beis Hamikdash, Shabbos Kodesh, Torah. There are three things: the Beis Hamikdash, the Holy Shabbos, and the Torah. Nichlalim b'mitzvos. They are contained within the commandment, within the mitzvah of v'asuli mikdash v'shachanti b'socham. It says in the Chumash in Shemot that I will make a mikdash, a holy place, and I will dwell b'tocham, in them.
You should make me a mikdash.
You should make me a mikdash, and I will dwell in them. And it doesn't say, as he goes on to say, Kedisa b'Sefer Kodesh, as the holy books say, b'tocho lo nemar. It doesn't say, I will dwell in it, in the Beis Hamikdash, in this holy place, el b'tocham, but in your midst. What does that mean? B'toch kol echad ve'echad. In the middle of everybody, every Jew, Hashem will dwell, and that'll be the mikdash. Tehine a mitzvah hazos, because this mitzvah, vasuli mikdash, this mitzvah of making for me a tabernacle, shaychus ba'olam shana v'nefesh, has connectivity to these three things that are a Kabbalistic teaching, which I really won't delve into any great length, but it's called Olam Shana v'Nefesh. So Olam refers to the world. It's a static place. Whereas whatever is within the existence of the world, that's within its existence. Shana refers to Zman, to time. Time is a connector between Olam and Nefesh, the soul. The soul is boundless. The soul goes wherever it wants. The neshama goes wherever it wants, and the connection is Zman. So, just as creation is sort of on that kind of a plateau of Olam, Shana, and Nefesh, so too these are. And he explains, but Olam, when he uses the word Olam, the world, Zu Beis Hamikdash. That refers to the Beis Hamikdash. Hu Hamakom Hamikdash, Hamakom Hamakudash. This is a place that is holy. Asher Nisava Kodesh Baruch Hu, that Hashem desires. Shetielo Dira B'Tachtonim, that'll have a house, a dwelling place down below in this world. V'Horid or Elyon, Me'olamos Elyonos. And Hashem will bring down the higher light from the higher worlds, Lishkon b'tocho, to dwell in the midst of this Beis Hamikdash, Lamate b'tachnonim, down below with us lower folks, down below in the earth. So that's Olam. Olam is connected to the Beis Hamikdash. Shana says, B'Shana Zayom Shabbos Kodesh. It refers to Shabbos. Hu hazman hamakudash. This is the time of holiness. Shebechol Shabbos mofia or elyon. On every Shabbos we have the ability to see the higher light. V'yoredet hashrat hashchina, and the presence of God comes down. The Bechinas Beis Hamikdash, just like in the Beis Hamikdash. The Beis Hamikdash was the presence of God in this world. So too with Shabbos, we have the presence of God in this world. And the third one of a nefesh, Zeh Koach HaTorah. This is the power of Torah. Gomra Chazal, as our holy sages say. It says in Pirkei Avos, Shnaim Shiyoshvim. If two people are sitting together, V'yesh beinehem divrei Torah, and they're talking Torah amongst themselves, Shechina shurui beinehem. The presence of God is with them. Tahainu, and that's an important lesson too. You know, when you sit down with people, you talk to people, you have a gathering of people, say Dvar Torah, talk Torah amongst yourselves. There was an old Saturday night live joke about talk amongst yourself. Talk Torah amongst yourself, you know, and you have two or more people. And the Mishnah in Perek Avos goes on to say, Chas v'sholom, if they're not talking Torah, it's like they're eating at a table of mesim, of dead people. So you want the presence of God to be with you. So talk Torah. Dahainu shekoach haTorah mamshich hashra hashchina. The power of Torah continues the presence of Hashem, gam b'nefesh, b'bechinas Beis Hamikdash, also in the nefesh, in the neshama, in the aspect of the Beis Hamikdash. Ba'yidei haTorah, and through Torah, mitkayem, it will be fulfilled. B'shochanti b'tocham b'toch kol echad ve'echad. It says in the sentence, "Make for me a mikdash, and I will dwell in you," means in each and every one of you. Kamra Chazal, as our sages teach us, Halomei Torah bilodoso. If somebody learns Torah when they're young, in their childhood, Torah nivlat b'damo. The Torah is absorbed in their blood. It's absorbed in your blood, and you remember it when you get older. It's always with you. Vayidei shlosha inyanim elu. Because of these three things, miskayim, you're fulfilling tachlis ritzon Hashem, the will of Hashem, liot lo yisborach dira b'tachtonim, the will of Hashem to have a house down below on the earth. In other words, Hashem has been homeless all these years since the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. Talking about homeless. I mean, that's the worst homelessness, and he knows he's homeless and he wants to get rid of the homelessness. But we have to create a home for him here. So it's up to us to build this house so Hashem doesn't have to be homeless anymore. These three things, these are the three higher steps in cleaving to Hashem. These of the Sefer HaKodesh, the holy books, say, Shekala Taryag mitzvos, Hema, all of the 613 commandments, they are Kaloshon Zohar HaKodesh, as the Holy Zohar tells us, Taryag Itin, 613 bits of advice, if you will, Eich Lahagil Madregas Ubo Sidbak, advice as to how to get to a higher level to be able to cleave to Hashem. Every time you're doing a mitzvah, you're getting closer to Hashem. And the 613 commandments is the combination of that gives us the ability to come closer to Hashem. Mitzvah. And with every mitzvah, Shehudi Mekayim, that a Jew fulfills, Mitkarev Yoter Libchinas Ubo Sidbak. He or she becomes closer to the aspect of cleaving to Hashem. Ach b'miyuchad, especially, Begimel and Yonim Elu, with these three things of Shabbos, of Beis Hamikdash, and Torah, the three things together, Elu Shores HaMitzvahu the root of these mitzvahs, of these three mitzvahs, Yichud HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is the unification of Hashem, V'Shechinta, and the Shechinta and his presence, Shenyano Yichud V'Dveiku Kadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael, because through this we get the unification, the togetherness, the unity of Hashem, and the cleaving between Hashem and the people of Israel. The Beis Hamikdash Kamamoram Zal, the Beis Hamikdash, as our sages said, Asher Bisman Shi Yisrael Osim Ratzono Shel Makom. We know that when the Beis Hamikdash was standing, it says when Bnei Yisrael were doing the will of Hashem, Hayu Hakruvim Orim Zeh B'Zeh. The cherubs, the Kruvim, were hugging one another, embracing one another. Kedei Laharos, to show Es Godel Ahavas HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael, the greatness of the love for Hashem and Bnei Yisrael. Came b'Shabbos Kodesh. Similarly on Shabbos, Ksiv Beini Uvein Bnei Yisrael Osi Liolam. It says, between me and Bnei Yisrael, this will be a sign forever. Amar Chazal, and our sages say, Knesset Yisrael Yeh Ben Zugcha. The whole people of Israel will be the spouse, so to speak, of Hashem. It'll be like a married couple. Hainu Shah Shabbos Hi B'Bchinas Ben Zug. Shabbos becomes the aspect of like a couple. V'zeh Iker Mitzvos Hayom Shel Shabbos Kodesh. This is the main part of the mitzvah of the day of Shabbos. Shehudi Yadovuk B'Hashem Yisborach. That the Jew will be cleaving to Hashem, will get closer to Hashem. It's the time that we can reach, at least now, without a Beis Hamikdash, the closest we can come to Hashem. Kamo Kain b'Torah Kadosh. So too with the Holy Torah. Komer Chazal, and as our sages say in the Gemara Brachas, Al Pasuk Torah Tziv Lanu Moshe Morasha Kehilos Yaakov. Moshe commanded us a Torah, which is an inheritance for the congregation of Yaakov. It says, Al Tikre Morasha. Don't read the Hebrew word as Morasha as an inheritance. Elam Urasa, like Urasin, like read it as Urasa, meaning an engagement, a marriage. It's a marriage between Bnei Yisrael and Hashem. Hainu Shayidei Torah Kodesh. Because through the Torah, Yesh Kiviyachal B'chinas Erusim V'Nisuyim Bein HaKodesh Baruch Yisrael. You have the complete wedding ceremony between Hashem and Yisrael, the Erusim, the engagement, V'Nisuyim, and the marriage itself. Valdavar Shedarshu Chazal, and as Chazal saying Gemara Eruvin on the pasuk from Mishli, the pasuk Eilas Ohavim V'Yala Chen Didei Yerucha B'Chol Eis B'Havaso Tishke Tamid. Basically saying that it talks about an ayelet, which is I don't know what the English word for some kind of a deer, an ayel. It's not a ram, but it's how do you translate ayelet? It's like a deer thing.
It's
That's
a
some kind
deer.
of deer.
Yeah.
The love for a deer, says the love for one deer for another. They have this love for each other, and this is a reference. Shir Hashirim is talks in terms of things like love between people and so on, but it's really talking about love between God. So this refers to the love that Yisrael, the love of Israel el Torah through the Torah, which then Hamakashrat Otam L'Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Torah connects them to Hashem. Kamokain, Gam Beis Hamikdash, B'Shabbos. Similarly, also Beis Hamikdash and Shabbos, Heim B'Chinas Ayelet Ohavim V'Yalet Chen Didei Yerucha B'Chol Eis B'Avoso Tishka Tomid. The same thing that the Beis Hamikdash inspires this great love. You're drinking up the love of Hashem between Hashem and Bnei Yisrael. Mipnei sheyesodam ha'ahava v'adveikus bein HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'Yisrael, because this is the foundation of the love and the cleaving between Hashem and Bnei Yisrael. V'hine Amar Chazal, and Chazal saying Gemara Tanis, V'amar Mer Kasuv, in Shir HaShirim it says, Tzenev Arena Benos Sion, Melech Shlomo, go out and see the daughters of Zion should go out and see, and the King Shlomo, Batara Sha'atar Lo Imo, and the crown that his mother prepared for him, B'yom Chasunaso, on the day of his wedding day, B'yom Simchas Libo, the day of the great rejoicing of his heart. That's the pasuk in Shir HaShirim, and it says, Yom Chatunaso, the day of his wedding, Ze Matan Torah. The day of the wedding refers to Matan Torah, the time we receive the Torah. V'yom Simchas Libo, and the day of the rejoicing of his heart, Ze Binyan Beis Hamikdash, refers to the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash, the building of the Beis Hamikdash. Hadn't been destroyed yet, the building of it. Shtei Madregos Zu L'mal Zu. We have these two levels, one on top of the other. Yom Chasunaso Hu Bechinas Nesuyin Shoy B'Matan Torah. The wedding day is like the wedding ceremony that took place when the Torah was given. Yom Simchas Libo, when the day of the rejoicing of your heart, Ze Binyan Beis Hamikdash. This is the building of the Beis Hamikdash. Shehu Madrego Lamala Mizu B'chai Haba L'Beiso B'Yichud. Because it's a very high level where Hashem comes into his house here in this world and lives together with us. As we said above, the kruvim, the cherubs were hugging one another, embracing one another. Shtei madregos halalo yeshnan gam kem Shabbos kodesh. And these two levels are also present on the holy Shabbos. Hein bechinas yom chatunto ze matan Torah. The day of his wedding is matan Torah, receiving the Torah. Ukamrumas b'omer Chazal, as the sages hint in Gemara Shabbos. The Chuli Alma b'Shabbos, everybody agrees that on Shabbos, nitnu Torah l'Yisrael, that on Shabbos was the time that the Torah was given to Bnei Yisrael. V'hein bechinas yom simchas libo, and this was the day of the gladness of my heart, of your heart. Asher gam kein yeshna b'Shabbos kodesh, also was on Shabbos, k'dichsiv, as it says, Beini ve'en Bnei Yisrael osi liolam, between me and Bnei Yisrael will be a sign forever. Shezu bechinas hayichud shayom simchas libo. This is the aspect of the unity with the day of the Beis Hamikdash being built, the day of simchas libo, the joy of my heart. Knesset Yisrael yeh ben zugcha. Bnei Yisrael becomes the spouse of Hashem. Visa b'Sifrei HaKodesh, and is said in the holy books, the Bizban Beis Hamikdash hayakayim, when the Beis Hamikdash was still standing. Hayo b'chinas shayom simchas libo kol hashua. The aspect of feeling this joy in your heart lasted not only when you're in the Beis Hamikdash, but it lasted the entire week. Shagam b'mos hachol, not only on Shabbos, but in the weekdays, hayo hayichud ayidei Beis Hamikdash. Because of the existence of the Beis Hamikdash, the power of it, the power of the connectivity between Bnei Yisrael and Hashem lasted throughout the week. Ub'Shabbosos hayu madrega gavoa od yoter. But on Shabbos is a level even higher. So it's because ach bizman hagalus, even during the time of exile, lachar hachurban, after the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, yesh b'Shabbos kodesh b'chinas Beis Hamikdash. Shabbos kodesh has in itself the aspect of the holy temple of the Beis Hamikdash. The Hainu, shirak b'shar yemos hashvua shchinsa b'galusa. It's only in the other 6 days of the week that Hashem's presence is in exile. Al Shabbos Kodesh, Hu Yom Simchas Libo. But on Shabbos, it's the day of the rejoicing of your heart. Yesh Kiviyachol Simcha Lamala Meyichud Shal Kodesh Baruch Hu Yisrael. It's apparent that there's a greater joy between the unity, the achdus between Bnei Yisrael and Hashem, the connection. Therefore, all of the Shabbosos after the Korban, after the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, they reach a higher level, just as with the Beis Hamikdash. They're the day of the rejoicing of your heart. The time that Bnei Yisrael and Hashem came together. Perush, and this is what it says: Ohavi Hashem amachakim v'inyan Ariel. Those who beloved of Hashem wait for the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash. Hainu shehem machakim, because they're waiting with sapim and hoping lahashrat hashchina, for the revelation of the presence of God, l'dveikus, and the cleaving shahaitze b'Beis Hamikdash, cleaving between Bnei Yisrael and Hashem that was present in the Beis Hamikdash. B'yom Shabbos Kodesh, Sisu v'simcha, on Shabbos day, you should be holy and rejoice. You should be happy and rejoice. Ki Shabbos Kodesh hi b'chinas Beis Hamikdash bizman. The Holy Shabbos is the aspect of the Beis Hamikdash and in its time. Sheish b'hashra hashchina, because on Shabbos you have the revelation of the presence of God, kamo shehoyse b'Beis Hamikdash, just as it was in the Beis Hamikdash. U'k'makabli matan nachliel, and like those who receive the gift of Nachliel, again referring to the Beis Hamikdash, ki yesh bo gam b'chinas matan Torah. I'm sorry, that's the Torah. Ki yesh bo gam b'chinas matan Torah. There's also on Shabbos the aspect of receiving the Torah, u'b'chinas yehuda ilah, and the aspect of a higher connectivity to Hashem. Od yesh levar should also explain ketzad mitkayim. How does one fulfill Asuli Mikdash for Shechanti B'tocham B'Shabbos Kodesh? How do we fulfill this thing? And you will make for me a Mikdash, and I will dwell within you on Shabbos, Kamo B'Mikdash, on Shabbos just as it was in the Holy Temple. Tehine, as it is, Shechanti B'tocham, I will dwell in you. Perusho, the interpretation of this is Shayidei Beis Hamikdash. Through the Beis Hamikdash, Hayis Nimshechas HaKadusha El Toch Klal Yisrael. Through the existence of the Beis Hamikdash, the holiness would spread from the Beis Hamikdash into every neshama of Bnei Yisrael. Ki Hayu b'Beis Hamikdash Gimel Medorim. There were 3 different levels in the Beis Hamikdash: Tachtayim, Shniyim, Shlishim, lower, second, and a third level. What does that mean? V'heim. It's referring to different parts of the Beis Hamikdash, and it's going to mention them in just a minute. And similarly, like a person has Gimel Dargot Halalu, the same 3 characteristics: lower, middle, and higher. Shiu Keneged Midore Hamoach Halev Boivorim. You have the 3 things. You have the mind, the brain, the heart, and the other parts of your body, your limbs, and everything else. Hazara Mizbeach Achitzon, the Hazara, the courtyard of the Beis Hamikdash, and the outer Mizbeach, Hayu Keneged Ha'ivorim. Those are like the outermost parts of our body, like our Eivorim, the various bodily parts, your fingers, your feet. Midor Hatava, the chamber of desires, the level of desires, Aleim Nemar, and that it said, Eish Tamid Tukad Al Mizbeach Lo Tichba, the fire shall burn on the Mizbeach all the time, and it shall not be put out. The Hainu, this is Shahayu B'Achinas Eish Ochelas Eish. This is the aspect of fire, eating fire. Eish Mizbeach, the fire of the Mizbeach, Hoisus Sorefet, it's called Eish Hatavos B'nei Yisrael. The fire of the Mizbeach would burn all of the improper desires of Bnei Yisrael. we talked. I don't know, last week, a couple of weeks ago, when you want to kosher something, you have to kosher it in the same way it became treif. So if something became treif with
One darga higher?
Hmm?
One darga higher, or the same?
The same. For example, if something became treif with fire, you have to put it on the fire. That's agala. That's to make it. If something became treif not by that, you do it in a lesser way. But it's the same thing. So the fire of the Mizbeach would consume the fire that led us to do those things that we shouldn't be doing, led us to have those desires that we shouldn't be having. And because of this, Hayo Mizbeach machnis kedusha be'evorim shel Klal Yisrael. The Mizbeach would bring in the holiness of into the evorim, into the hands and the feet, the limbs of Bnei Yisrael. That kedusha would spread. It's just like the if you go into a perfume store, you're going to come out smelling like perfume. Even though you haven't bought any, it's going to smell like perfume. The same thing, the Mizbeach had that property to make everybody holy and spread the holiness to everybody. Hahechel, the next level, just before you get into the Holy of Holies, Hechel haya keneged halev. The Hechel is like the heart of a person. Lachnis kedusha, the midos, to bring holiness into the aspects of it, shukos or ritzoniot, in the desire and the will of a person. So that's the second part. Kodesh hakadoshim hayu keneged hamoach. The Holy of Holies was like the brain. Lachdir bo kedusha b'deus v'hashkafos, to take within it holiness in thought and hashkafa. I translate that. Your thought and your practice, your theology, your philosophy, right? Ki Beis Hamikdash hayu machnis kedusha b'chol madregos. So the Beis Hamikdash would bring holiness into all levels. Tachtiyim, shnayim, shlishim, lower, second, and higher. Ukeneged zeh, and because of this, heim gam gimel itose haShabbos. We have 3 different times on Shabbos, 3 different parts of Shabbos that are tachtiyim, shnayim, shlishim. Just like in the Beis Hamikdash, lower, middle, and higher, we have the same on Shabbos. And what are they? Leil Shabbos Kodesh, Friday night, who keneged taharas ha'evorim. Just like the Mizbeach hachitzon would be matahir, would purify the evorim, so too Friday night, Kabbalah Shabbos purifies the evorim, the limbs of the body. Yom HaShabbos, l'kadesh halev. Shabbos morning, Shabbos itself makes the heart holy. V'acher kach, and after that you have the holiest of all, holiest part of Shabbos, Shalosh Sudot. The Shalosh Sudot, the third meal of Shabbos after Mincha. Rava de Ravin, he Kodesh HaKadoshim, the desire of the desires of Hashem, the holiness of holiness, Keneged HaMoach, and that is like the brain. V'azhu bechinas hayichud shel Kodesh Baruch Hu, Kodesh HaKadoshim, and that is those 3 things, and especially Shalosh Shidduch, brings you in a connection as if you're alone with Hashem in the Holy of Holies. Remember, the Holy of Holies, the Kodesh Kadoshim, the only person who could go in there was the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, once a year on Yom Kippur. But here you get this opportunity to be as if you're in that Kodesh Kadoshim every single Shabbos. Shaboyu HaKeruvim Urim Zebazeh. The Keruvim were hugging one another. V'hainu shebechinas HaKedusha shel Beis Hamikdash. And because of the aspect of the holiness of the Beis Hamikdash, Yesh Gam b'Shabbos Kodesh, is also in Shabbos. Valkein gam la'acher achurban, even after the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, Shabbos Kodesh he hamaleos makom. It makes a full place. It fills a place. Beis Hamikdash fills the place of the Beis Hamikdash. It takes the place of the Beis Hamikdash. Lahachnis hakedush b'chal Yisrael, to bring in holiness into Klal Yisrael. Given she Israel am kadosh, since the Jewish people are a holy people, einam yocholim miskayim below kedusha. They can't live without holiness. Balkein, and therefore, ein avelus b'Shabbos. Shabbos is so holy that we don't do any avelus on Shabbos. You don't do any mourning on Shabbos. Even if you're in the midst of Shiva, Chas v'Shalom, Shabbos is, although it's counted as one of the days of Shiva, you don't have any public mourning. You don't sit with your shoes off. You don't sit on low seats. You try to have it as much as you can as a regular Shabbos. And he says, "Vafilu Tisha B'av," even when Tisha B'av, the greatest day of mourning, Shechol b'Shabbos, when Tisha B'av comes out on Shabbos, Ochel Kesudas Shlomo b'Shato. Tisha B'av is pushed off to the next day, and that Shabbos, you eat a meal, even at Suda Shalishit, the third meal, like the banquet that Shlomo would give. There's no Suda Mafseket. There's nothing on Shabbos to indicate the mourning over the Beis Hamikdash. You carry on, have the greatest Shabbos. Excuse me. Ki b'Shabbos he bechinas shelo chara Beis Hamikdash. Shabbos as if the Beis Hamikdash wasn't destroyed. Kiven sheyesh bo as kedushas Beis Hamikdash, because on Shabbos you have the holiness of the Beis Hamikdash. It's just amazing when you think about what the holiness and the levels that are accessible to us on Shabbos if we just try and reach. Excuse me, Tamzeh. Because of this reason, Gamkein Melaches Binya Beis Hamikdash, the work of the building of the Beis Hamikdash, Eino Dochet HaShabbos, doesn't push aside Shabbos. You can't build the Beis Hamikdash on Shabbos. Ki HaKedusha Shoyes Beis Hamikdash, the holiness that was in the Beis Hamikdash, Nimshechet Ayidei Shabbos Kodesh, continues through the Shabbos. Shu Gamkein, Shabbos is also bechinas in the aspect Vasuli Mikdash, and you shall make for me a tabernacle.
It's so strange though, because all the avodah that happened in the Beis Hamikdash on Shabbat is all the isurim that we're not allowed to do on Shabbat. It's like what happened in the Beis Hamikdash is like the hefech gamur of what we know as Shabbat.
Well, right.
And yet the Beis Hamikdash is used as a symbol of Shabbat.
Well, the whole rules of Shabbos, the things that we cannot do, come about by virtue of the things that were used to build the Beis Hamikdash. That being said, in the Beis Hamikdash itself, those rules were suspended.
Right.
You could light a fire for the Mizbeach.
On Shabbos?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's right. It's very strange.
You could, you blew shofar in the Beis Hamikdash on Shabbos. We don't blow shofar now on Shabbos because we're worried about the Shavus of the Rabbana, it's called. The Rabbana said because you might carry it in places where there wasn't an Eruv.
But if you're in the Beis Hamikdash, it's already there.
No, I'd be worried that you might carry it out of the Beis Hamikdash and so on. That's the concern. I could say too, leave the shofar in shul. Somebody will blow it in shul on Shabbos. No, because they have the same concern the Rabbanim had. Somebody might carry it to shul, from shul, whatever, in days that have an Eruv. So therefore they prohibit it, even though the Torah says, Tiku b'shofar kodesh. The Torah tells us to blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah. The power of the Rabbanan is such that they can overturn and override a law from the Torah. But in the Beis Hamikdash, there's a general principle that ein shvus b'mikdash, that there is none of these rabbinic enactments applied in the Beis Hamikdash at all. So they were able to do these things. They were able to serve Hashem in the Beis Hamikdash, not outside, but in it.
But even with Torah that you're not supposed to do, you're not supposed to do the stuff that you usually do in the Beis Hamikdash, and that's why we don't we rest on Shabbos, and that because in the Beis Hamikdash you're supposed to rest and only learn Torah in that. But when you're working in the Beis Hamikdash, then
There is no
It-
rest.
Well, the Kohanim,
like
the Kohanim and Levim were very busy. The Beis Hamikdash, the Kohanim were working all the time. Levim too, and then groups of regular Jews were also busy there.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, isn't on Shabbos supposed to be a day that you rest in that? And you're not supposed to work or anything. You're just supposed to rest.
Right, but the
And
work,
why-
you're supposed to rest. So why aren't you resting? So rest, when we say rest on Shabbos, it doesn't mean taking naps necessarily. That's a good thing, but it doesn't mean that. Rest means you're putting yourself in a different frame of mind. You're in a place where you are resting from the difficulties of the week, from all that has bothered you in the week, and you're coming into a room with Hashem, and you're forgetting about the weekday, and you're getting a calmness of your mind. You're calming yourself down. That's the rest that Shabbos is talking about.
So how was Shabbat felt in the Beis Hamikdash, other than the fact that they brought another korban musaf? Or was it not?
I don't know. It was before my time.
It's like a
I-
weird
It's such
juxtaposition,
a
you
good
know?
question.
I
It's
wasn't-
so hard to imagine. Like, yeah, they never got Shabbos. They never felt Shabbos as we know it. No.
They felt Shabbos in a different way.
Like what?
Well, it was
For
the,
example.
it was for all of what we do on Shabbos now, the prayers and so on. They took the place of sacrifices in the Beis Hamikdash.
Right.
Beis Hamikdash, they didn't have tefillot as we have them today. That all came about later with the Anshe Knesset Agdolah, men of the Great Assembly. They made all these tefillot and they designed these things as a replica of the service of Hashem in the Beis Hamikdash. So in the Beis Hamikdash, you had different offerings. You had every day the Korban Tomid Shel Shacher and Shel Arvis, the eternal offering that was brought twice a day. Yeah, the Beis Hamikdash being the fire of the Beis Hamikdash was constant. You had I don't know. I can't answer the question. I don't know specifically.
It's like maybe Kohanim and Levim were always in a state of Shabbat within the Beis Hamikdash kind of thing.
Well, that's sort of what it said before. That the Beis Hamikdash puts you in that state of kedusha and connection to Hashem, not only while you're in there, but even outside the Beis Hamikdash. So certainly those that were in there were at a much higher level, just by virtue of being there. So maybe you can put it that way. They're always like in a state of Shabbat, in terms of the connectivity, the devekut with Hashem. Because everything else is important. You can't go around violating the laws of Shabbos, but at the same time, the key to Shabbos is not just keeping these laws, but having a spiritual connection to Hashem, getting closer to Hashem. That's the key of Shabbos. That's the soul of Shabbos. And the Beis Hamikdash, they had the Kedusha there. They had the soul there already. But the specifics, the ABCs of what was done, I'm sure it's written about. I just don't know it. Vula. Al-Madregos Hanishkavos Ve'el, because of these high levels. Ein Yochid Vasugul Hagia Rak B'Koach Achdus Yisrael. An individual Jew cannot possibly reach these levels except through Achdut with Bnei Israel, to connectivity with one Jew and another. Beis Hamikdash Kasiv. It says, as we've said, Asuli Mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. So Asu, you shall make, is Lashon Rabim. It's plural. Ki Beis Hamikdash hayu ma'ached as called Klal Yisrael, because the Beis Hamikdash would unify, would bring together all of the people of Israel. Uktiksiv, as it's written, Shalosh pa'amim b'shana, 3 times in a year, Yeruah calls Zechorcha as Panei Hashem Elokecha. You shall see the face of Hashem your Lord. U'kamo shedorshu Chazal, and as our sages have taught us, Beperush ir shechubra la yachtov, a city that is connected in unity. She osek all Yisrael lechaverim. All Yisrael become unified together, become friends with one another, responsible for one another. Beis Hamikdash hayu ma'ached as a klal. The Beis Hamikdash unified everybody. Kibbutz shebeis Hamikdash hakif as called Klal Yisrael, since the Beis Hamikdash and the aura of the holiness that came out of it surrounded all of Bnei Yisrael. Chol echad milabo es tafkidav. Everybody could accomplish what their tafkid was. So in the Beis Hamikdash we have Kohanim ba'avodosam. The Kohanim did their avoda, their specific avoda to Hashem. Ulevim b'duchanam. The Levim would sing and do their things. V'Yisrael b'mamadam, and the groups of different Bnei Yisrael that change all the time. They're called the Mishmarim. They did their things. Umikoach achdus Yisrael. But the key is they were all together doing their individual things, but together. Mikoach achdus Yisrael, through the power of this unity, of togetherness of Yisrael, Hamshichu es hashrat hashchina b'Beis Hamikdash. It continued the presence of Hashem in the Beis Hamikdash. Bal pizeh yesh lamer mel Chazal. We learn from our sages. Bayit sheni charav ba'avon sinat chinam. The second Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of the sin of hatred, free hatred of one Jew to another. Ulechura, says Hari Amru, Shabbayis Harishon, we say that the first Beis Hamikdash, Charav ba'avon avodah zara, gili arayos v'shmichas domim. The first Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of the sin of idol worship, immorality, and bloodshed, murder. Shehem averot hachamorot biot. These are very, very, very severe sins. Masha'en kain, compared to sinas chinam, when you don't like somebody, hatred of somebody else, sheinu el lav greda. It's only the Torah tells you not to do it. It's a lav. It's not punishable by death. These other things are punishable by death. This is a lav, and that there's really no punishment for it at all. Maybe in some cases you might be able to find a case where they might have to administer lashes, but unlikely. It's basically a prohibition without a penalty. So therefore, if it's such a light, if it's a prohibition, doesn't have a penalty, or doesn't have a severe penalty, why would the Beis Hamikdash be destroyed by this alone? Amnam, therefore, al pi omer, as we say, shanashama b'kiyum shal Beis Hamikdash, the soul and the continued existence of the Beis Hamikdash, hi ha'achdus shal Klal Yisrael, was only through the achdus, the unity of Klal Yisrael. Hari kivan shehoisa beinehem sinas chinam, and when there was hatred between them, v'nispardu hachdus, and the unity split apart. Lo haisalo od mitzios lishchaim, there was no longer any ability to continue living, to continue in existence. Speaking of the Beis Hamikdash. Kamo came b'Shabbos Kodesh. Similarly on Shabbos Omer we say, Rabbeinu Kodesh, say Komer Chazal say Knesset Yisrael, Yu ben Zubcha. That the Knesset Yisrael, Ben Yisrael, and Shabbos is like the spouse of Hashem. The Indian Zesh, Yehudim Yoshvim, the aspect is Jews sit, Umechunsim Yachtav, they gather together b'Shabbos Kodesh, on Shabbos, Tzibur Panimi, an internal connection, internal gathering, Bilvavos Muchadim, their hearts unified, Zeg Gufohu Haben Zug Shabbos Kodesh. This is the main aspect. It says this is how a person becomes the zug, the partner, the marriage partner, with Hashem on Shabbos, only by Achdus. V'hainu Tama, and the reason is Kila Madrega Gavoa Kazos, on such a high level, Liot Ben Zug l'Shabbos, to be a partner to Shabbos, Ein Hayochid Mesugol Lahalot, an individual is not able to come to this level, Ela B'koach Tzibur Yehudim Hamuchadim B'lei v'nefesh, only through the power of a group of Jews that are together in leiv v'nefesh, heart and soul. Efshar lamshich as a madrega shel Knesset Yisrael yeh ben zugcha. That's the only way they can reach this high level of becoming as it were, a spouse of Hashem. Kamo Kain, yesh einyan zeh gam b'Torah. We have the same thing with Torah. K'domer Chazal, as Chazal say, al pasuk vayichan sham Yisrael. Remember, just the Torah was about to be given, and we camped by Har Sinai. The pasuk says vayichan sham Yisrael. It should have said vayachnu, but vayichan is singular, one person. It wasn't one person camping; it was everybody, right? Vayichan sham Yisrael. Vayichan sham Yisrael. Shahayu what? Believe. Shahayu believe echad ki ish echad. It was like one man, one heart, one person. We were all together. It was achdus, together. Veina Torah niknes ela b'chabura. The Gemara in Baruch says the Torah that you learn doesn't work unless you study with somebody else. Why? It says Haina b'koach achdus shal Yehudim biyached. It's only the power of unity, one Jew with another. That's the power that gives that Torah the ability to be Mekayim to last. The Chomer Hazal, and this is very interesting statement that the rabbis say in the Gemara Brachos. Shalom dim biyachidus, lo od ella shemitapshin. Somebody learns only by themselves and not with other people. They become a fool. They become foolish. Batam, the reason for this is she efshar lezakos. It's impossible to merit lashros hashchina, the connectivity, the presence of Hashem, with vekus and the cleaving to Hashem, el b'koach achtu shel klal Yisrael, only in the power of the unity, the oneness of all Bnei Yisrael. We learn Torah for the purpose of learning how to live, but not just for ourselves, how to teach others how to live, teach others Torah. And that's why it's important to learn in a chavrusa. And that's the Gemara has a very strong statement on that. Anyway, we see from this Torah the connectivity of the three major things in being a Jew: Beis Hamikdash, Shabbos, and Torah. And we can access all of them on Shabbos just by trying to reach that level. Shabbos.
Yashikoa.
Thank you.
Great.